Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Thanks for being early, guys. How we doing, Frothy? Wally, Jelf?
What's up, everybody?
Hey, hey, hey. Thank you all for tuning in. No, we were out last week, but we are back. It is Community Thursday. Thanks for being here. We'll let folks trickle in, say what's up.
So I just want to note, I saw under RW Dennis's comment on one of the tweets about the 100 holes saying I didn't look as good as you. So I both remember that and I agree. Just wanted to point that out before we get started.
Just calling out that we were monitoring the socials during that hike.
It's fuel for the fire.
That's right. Let your haters be your motivators, right? That's the play.
Exactly.
Well, we'll dive in on all of that. I don't know. Were you as happy as I was?
Probably happier. I don't know. I was tired, man. I was really tired.
Well, we'll jump into it. Thank you all for being here. I did want to point out we have extended the Links leagues to go through the end of this weekend. So if you're playing golf, if you're close to getting your starting rounds in, if you want to get all of your rounds in for Links leagues for the spring league, you can finish up this weekend, get those posted, and we are going to pick winners for the leagues next week. So extended that for you all. Really excited. It's been a great league. We've had a ton of participation, and we'll spin the wheel here a little bit later. But I did want to recap the big event of the week, which was the Spey Bay Summer Solstice out there at our own golf course in Scotland. Some of you may have seen the YouTube video that was filmed on the time at the time there with golf mates. But we had a bunch of members out, a bunch of local members. And I really just wanted to vibe check, right? Now that we're back, it's kind of, we're back and settled. Kick it over to you, C. Bruce. What are your impressions? How was your trip over?
Oh, it was so much fun. I think like my body is now finally mostly recovered, which is good. Yes, it was a lot of golf. But willingly playing a lot of golf. Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, obviously, like this time of year is just incredible. The weather we had over the weekend was awesome. Actually rained very little, which isn't totally typical. I know the week prior, they were getting some rain, but we had sunshine basically the whole time. So we were getting, 18 plus hours of sunlight the whole time. It's pictures of when we went off at 4:30 in the morning. Where it was kind of crazy how light out it was. But yeah, no, I mean, it was incredible. It was just like, soaking up all the Spey Bay experience. Ironically, I had never actually played the 18 holes just like regularly. Hole 1 through 18, playing my own ball, stroke play. Just because last year the event was, it was a scramble, and then we just played a bunch of loops, other loops the other times. So ironically, it was my first time just kind of playing it regularly. But then I got a full dose of that, doing it 8 times or whatever. But yeah, no, I mean, it was incredible. I wish we were back there now. It was too much fun. We also, snuck in some other courses. At least I know a number of us did. Another of awesome courses in the area. Played Royal Dornoch, which was just incredible. Like, one of the best courses I've ever played, most fun courses I've ever played. And you guys played a bunch of other ones. So yeah, couldn't speak highly enough about the experience.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it was a really special time out there, all the daylight, and I'm glad you mentioned some of the other courses that weren't too far. I did want to ask Mr. Senior, now that you've been over, you played a few of the courses. What's your definitive ranking of, Scottish golf courses, Mr. Senior's list?
I'm glad you asked, Cooper. Obviously, I will caveat this by saying I haven't played all of them, but of the ones that I've played, and this is strictly favorite, not necessarily best, I would say number one, Cruden Bay, number two, Earl Dornick, both of which were on this trip. Number three, Spey Bay. Number four, Colin. Number five, Dumbarney. Number six, Tane. Number seven, Kingsbarns. The top three, Cruden Bay is my comps, and again, people can disagree with this, but this is the way that I feel on a golf course. My comp for Cruden Bay is Tobacco Road. It's just wild features that make you feel like you have to hit a perfect hero shot, but it's a lot more forgiving than you'd think. It's just big and bold and crazy. So Tobacco Road is my Cruden Bay comp. Earl Dornick, I don't really have a comp for because I haven't played a course in the United States at that standard. It's a top 10 to 20, depending on what list you look at, course in the world, and it deserves every bit of those accolades. So I don't really have a comp. I'm sure someone can come up with one, but it's just unbelievable. And then Spey Bay. I mean, I get made fun of all the time because I say the word Sweetens Cove 10 times a day, but the feeling that I got, the first time I played Sweetens Cove was with you, and we showed up, and the thing that I kept thinking and feeling was just, it feels like home, and it feels like a place that I could spend just countless hours playing golf. I don't want to just play one round. I want to play it again and again and again and again, and I just want to spend all day there. And if you're familiar with how Sweeten Cove works, you pay $90, you play all day. And to me, that's the most enjoyable way to enjoy Spey. Its defenses are like the undulations of the fairways. You get really weird bounces. The green complexes are fun. It's beautiful looking at the ocean. I could sit and try to hit 100 balls at the 8th green and not actually hit the green. To me, it's a place that's meant to be savored and also creatively played, which is why I think the reversible routing stuff, I'm sure we'll get into. It's just such a unique thing, but it's also it feels like it makes sense at that property. We also ended up playing with the local members. Apparently, they've played quite a few times. A two-hole routing where you play the first tee box to the 3rd green, and then the 16th tee box to the 18th green as 2 holes, best ball teams. That was a blast. And then we also, pretty regularly played the 1, 2, 3, 16, 17, 18, which is like a really natural, easy way to play. So I just can't wait to go back. I don't think I'm gonna be able to make it again this year, but I love it. And if you haven't gone yet, just, scrimp, save, do whatever you got to do to go check it out, because it's an unbelievable experience.
Yeah, I concur with all of that. And I do want to say, having been there for the welcome event last year, experiencing the clubhouse, right, and the event that we had, which was awesome, getting everybody out there, the energy was magic. But like being out there this year, the improvements to the clubhouse, the experience there, of course, we've still got Andrew in the kitchen, but the work that Bert has done, making it feel like home. We've got the inaugural member board up. We've got the winter work plan, the course diagram and everything, all of the trophies, hardware, historical memorabilia. We got to watch one of the Euro matches with Scotland in the clubhouse with the local members, which was really fun. The clubhouse feels awesome, and the fire pit is great. The pro shop is really cool, but the course is in fantastic condition, right? I know it's midsummer, but like the work that's gone in, the work that David Rumbles and the groundskeepers have done, the greens were some of the best that we played in Scotland, in my opinion. Like they were so pure, and yeah, the improvement has been massive. We were like, let's just keep playing Spey. We had tee times at other courses. Let's just run it back.
We drove into Spey on Thursday night at 1 a.m. and didn't get back in the car until we left for the airport on Monday morning. Mm-hmm. And to your point, we had Cullen and Nairn Dunbar on the schedule, and I just didn't want to leave. Like I just wanted to keep playing it as much as possible.
Yeah, it's so good, so good. but yeah, in addition, we did leave temporarily to go to Gordon Castle for the Highlands dinner, which we didn't drive ourselves, but we got on the bus, we went out, and I mean that was an awesome experience. Gordon Castle's, for those of you who don't know, Spebe was originally created or commissioned by the Duke of Richmond, who owned a ton of land up there in northern Scotland, and he commissioned Ben Sayers to build the course. Well, his ancestors have Gordon Castle there, or his descendants have Gordon Castle there in the area. It's beautiful gardens. They've got multiple cottages. It's a great venue. So we got to go there for a Highlands dinner. What'd you think of the haggis presentation, Chris?
That was wild. I have to say, I'm my last name is Bruce. I'm like ostensibly of Scottish descent of some sort, but I had no clue about the cutting of the haggis tradition, which was wild. I mean, just to describe it a little bit, it's basically like two guys brought out a haggis on a plate, it's kind of like I guess you'd say that it's kind of like a big sausage. It's like a big kind of packed thing of meat and some other stuff in there. But it just brought it out on a plate. And then Bert was telling me that I guess you literally have to get licensed there to be like certified to do the cutting, because like all of the words that he said and the kind of story that went into it prior and then during, like everything that he was saying, I guess is very like scripted and like very specific what they have to do, which I had no clue of either. But yeah, that was wild. Two guys kind of brought out this thing and did a whole show, which was it was cool. It was like a nice introduction to a real Highlands dinner in a Scottish castle.
The bagpipes, the Burns poetry. I think it's Robert Burns. Correct me if I'm wrong there. It was like the presentation. It felt borderline religious, but very ceremonial, right? It was really cool. And then the only thing that surpassed the presentation was the actual taste. Like I didn't know I loved haggis. It was so good. But the dinner was
really good. So like I know haggis gets a bad rap, but I'll just say that I know it was a more modern presentation of it. Like that restaurant is new and everything else, but just a little bit of acidity and like brightness and sweetness to go along with the haggis goes such a long way, because haggis has like such one note, and just like the brightness that they added to it, it was delicious.
Yeah, it was a really, really great meal. Super cool to do that. We had the recent proposal for the memberships for Alfie and Trish. We got to present those. I have some video of all this, which I'll be uploading here on the Discord as well. So definitely want to share those moments with you all. But looks like we're going to be doing a lot more work in the future and offering some more cool experiences with Gordon Castle in the future. But yeah, that was a really fun experience.
Let me also just say because I didn't really totally realize this prior as well, but they have a ton of stuff there. Like if you're considering going with a spouse or significant other, or bringing your family over at some point or whatever else, they actually have a ton of activities, both for you or for others that are in your group, maybe that aren't as into golf or whatever else. Like they do a ton of fishing. This is one of I guess the like prime spot for fishing in Scotland, which is a really great fishing area. Greg can probably talk to this better than I can, but is like a few minutes up the river on their land. So they do a ton of fishing. Obviously, Spey Bay is just down the road. You can like make your own gin there. They have all the botanicals that they grow in the garden. They have, they do kind of all sorts of tours and activities around the place, and it's also in a beautiful setting. And they have the, you can rent like a cottage if you have a group traveling around, or they also have rooms in the castle. So, I mean, it's really interesting. I hadn't totally considered that before, but it makes for a really good group destination, even if they have people that aren't, that aren't golfers with you. Oh, and I shouldn't forget, right? The whole Speyside Valley, like most of the biggest Scotch distillers in the world are like 20 minutes away, right? Macallan and Glenfiddich and Glenlivet and all that good stuff. So, yeah, I think that's worth mentioning for anybody that's thinking about a trip either later this year, next year, or whatever else. And I think even for some of the events later this year, we'll probably be thinking about if there isn't something we can do to get groups staying there, and so everyone's all together near the course, but in an awesome setting too, like for the Ryder Cup or for whatever else. So that was very cool, and I wasn't totally cognizant of everything they had going on there.
Yeah, really, really awesome on that front, and looking forward to all of that stuff. I was supposed to go fishing on the Spey, but my flights didn't allow it. I really would love to do that next time. That or stalking grouse or deer or something. I think that's what they call hunting, stalking. So that might be cool too. But yeah, there's a lot more happening at Spey. The ball keeps rolling. If you are interested in going to the club championship, the member guest, the Ryder Cup, any of the meetings that are happening, if you have any questions about getting there, ask one of us. We can get you in touch with Bert, who is just fantastic for booking these trips. Or if you're looking to, schedule something for next year, just let us know. We can get it set up. It's, absolutely worth going. I can't wait to go back. I think I'm going to do the Ryder Cup. It seems like an awesome, awesome time. Anything else on the Scotland stuff? Any questions from the crew here? Any thoughts before we move on?
Should we mention at all about playing the reversible routing a little bit?
Yeah,
let's talk about it. I don't know who.
So I guess just to preview, we while we were there, we played. I guess what we believe are the first holes in the reversible routing. Just as a reminder, like we did all this work. We cleared out gorse. We top dressed all the areas of sand. We seeded it. It's currently growing in, so you can't like play it with everyday wear and tear, and it's not manicured to kind of a golf course level in all those areas. But they are all open now, so you can actually play in the reverse direction into all these greens. So we did actually play kind of the 7-hole loop closest to the clubhouse in reverse, which can be done now with all those gorse areas cleared, with the makeshift tee boxes and stuff like that. And we also filmed some of it, which Mr. Senior is going to be getting out at some point soon, I think, as well. But that was super cool. Greg, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like I touched on a little bit earlier, some of that stuff feels really gimmicky. It's funny that, like usually, right, they come up with all these different things, but it feels so natural to play the holes that way. I think a good example for me is the third or I think it's the second green. So you're playing into that second green, and when you're playing it in the normal routing, it has a false front. And so often, as many times as we played that course over the weekend, I would, if you could bump it up and that's really nice because you can just kind of like hit it short and just get it to roll up. If you didn't and you got it at the top of that hill, then it was going to roll back down. But in the opposite direction, you have completely a different problem. You can't really bump and run it up because if you get it past the hole, then it's just going to roll off the back of the green. The good news is it's like it's a fairway over there because it's the other fairway the other side. But the strategy completely changes which direction you're playing it. And it doesn't feel gimmicky at all. And I think like for the first, when you're teeing off, it almost feels unnatural. It feels like you're breaking the rules, I think, Cooper, you said. But once you're like a hole in, it just feels like that's the way that it's meant to be played. So I think the big shout out to the team of figuring out a way to do that and recognizing that it would work because, that kind of thing wouldn't work everywhere. But I think like I'm very convicted, like my own personal biased opinion is I want to go to Spey and I want to like spend time there. I don't want to just go there, check it off, and then move over to, Inverness and play some courses. And I think being able to be at Spey and playing it multiple ways, not just multiple times, is a really special thing. So it was a treat to play it that way, and it was really fun also just to do it when it wasn't finished, and I can't wait to go back and see it when it is done.
It's really remarkable how unique the course plays. It's not just like, oh, I'm playing the same hole differently. Like the wind changes, the slopes, the approaches are all so interesting, and when those areas grow in too, or finish growing in, it's going to be really remarkable to play that. But really excited to get that video out and show you guys the first part of it.
One last thing I'll say is, like you mentioned this, I've been editing the video, and you mentioned this on camera where the first hole, which is the 18th fairway, it's really straight, right? Like you're kind of at an angle coming down into that half pipe. For the rest of it, it's really straight. But when you play it from that tee over by the ocean, by those houses, it almost plays like a dogleg left because it's a lot longer to get down to the fairway to where you could easily hit a driving iron or a 4-iron, and then hit a second shot that's almost like I don't know, like 45-degree angle to the green. So to your point, like it is completely different. It doesn't even feel like the same hole, which is awesome.
Yeah, and particularly that kind of signature 15th seaside green. You're kind of approaching it up that par 5 on the left, and you're playing so close to the water, and it's just the vibes are really, really cool. So
you have to basically start it over the water because I didn't have the courage to do it, and I started it like at the rocks, and you could have with that wind started it over the water and let it cut into the wind onto that green. It's just such a fun shot.
Yeah, with the left pin position and the wind coming off the water, absolutely right. It's very, very cool. Very cool. Looking forward to that. And I'm sure, later in the season, it's only going to get better and better as all of that stuff grows in. We'll have more on this. We have more content. We're getting through everything. Appreciate y'all listening to us just kind of wax nostalgic about Spey Bay. It's a really cool spot. I know some of y'all in the audience have trips planned. It's going to be only getting better out there. With that being said, we can kind of kick it and move forward on to, what we're doing here in the US, signature events. We've got some more coming up. I think there's one playing on Monday. Is that playing field? But I'll kick it over to you, Chris. What do we got?
Yeah, we've got, we've had a couple of signature events already in the year, but we're getting into kind of the peak season. So we got Plainfield on Monday. It's going to be incredible. Top 100 ranked course over in New Jersey. So we've got a good group out there. It's going to be amazing. We got Quaker Ridge later in the month, Bayonne next month, Hollywood next month, Kingsley next month. So got a lot of good ones coming up. Very excited about getting these going and seeing all the members out at all these amazing courses that we have lined up. We made an announcement earlier in the week that, a spot opened up last minute at Plainfield. That's been filled. It's filled quickly. But we do have a limited number of spots at just a handful of the events later in the year. So Hollywood and New Jersey, Kingsley, Michigan. I think we have one spot left at Philly Cricket later in the year. So handful of those still available. These events are incredible. If you haven't been to them, some of the best courses in the country. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, we're getting into it. Excited. Going to see some great courses this year.
Good stuff. I'm just gonna say it. No U.S. course updates on Midwest or Southeast today, Chris. But correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, no, that's right. Other than similar updates I've given in past weeks, which I know is repetitive, but we're grinding away. We had meetings with the Midwest course this week. We were going back and forth on some of the Southeast course stuff with the owner there last week. So we are grinding away, but no big updates this week. Obviously, we're aiming to get folks course names and updates and more discussion and details as soon as we can.
Perfect. But on the U.S. course front, there is the Erie proposal, which we are workshopping a poll to determine, how we feel as a community to send out a delegation of folks to film, play around, film the course, report back to the community and say, hey, is this something we want to continue to pursue? Can launch that as early as this evening here in chat. Just a Discord poll to see, temp check, if we want to move forward, if everybody's feeling good about the amount of information they have, if this course is even something interesting that we want to move forward with. So, any thoughts on that? We can continue to discuss, debate, and just explore the Erie option, any others that kind of come up while we continue to move forward on the Midwest and Southeast options. If you have any thoughts on that, feel free to chime in the chats, raise your hand, come up on stage. But without further ado, I will spin the wheel of names for our last spin before the final results come in. Allow me to share my screen. We have an awesome 69 participants in this wheel spin for the final round. Love to see it. Away we go. It is Crypto Rick. Congratulations, Crypto Rick. Love to see it. Get those scores posted if you have not completed all your rounds before the end. You can post those, and we also have the Spillover League. If you've already posted all of your Spring League rounds, we have Spillover. We'll be launching Summer League soon. Is that correct, guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think targeting next week, should be able to get it out there, and just got a couple more things to finalize.
Perfecto. Awesome, y'all. Thank you for tuning in this evening. We will throw up the poll with regard to Erie. Get those votes in. It's going to be a yes, no. Yes to send a delegation out and review. No is Erie's not your cup of tea. And we'll go from there. And again, big thanks to Hank for all the effort thus far. Cheers, guys. One more highlight. Set your calendars. We will not be having a community call on 4th of July, but July 11th, we will have Lou Stagner, the Golf Stat Pro, Twitter personality, and Arcos data guy here on the 11th. So make sure to tune in for that. And Mr.